Well, thanks for being in the Design Challenge group. So if I understand it correctly, tell me if I'm wrong, but we have some essential questions about water from each of our classes, and you guys have yours and I have mine, and we got them on our Google Doc here. So I think we need to kind of go through our essential questions and then maybe see, which ones of them in our minds maybe go together into our own project, our own question that we'd like to ask as a group.
Sounds good.
All right. What do you have, Mrs. Burgett?
I have art, physics, and IED. Do you want to hear the questions?
Sure, that'd be great.
All right. For art, it's what elements and principles of art design can be used in creating a trifold presentation? Mm-hmm. What elements and principles of art design can be used in creating a 3D prototype model? And how do you manage time when creating steps to finish an art design? So a lot of things about how the presentation's put together. For physics, what are the key microscopic properties of water and why are they important? What are the key macroscopic properties of water and why are they important? How is water, through its nature, properties, or uses, connected to unique concepts in physics? How have advances in physics affected the evolution of water transportation devices or systems throughout history?
Okay, so it's like some water structure and then also some water transport. All right.
Right, and then for IED, how does the design process influence how we transport water? So that seems very related to the physics question. How does the design of a city's water treatment system relate to economic stability? So if one of you has economics, maybe that's related. And how can using the design process help improve water quality in underdeveloped countries? I don't know if that would, if one of you guys has social studies, might be related.
Well,
Okay.
I do. I have American history here, so let's see what questions I have. As seen in American industrialization imperialism, how did water serve as a source of both freedom and control of individuals in an American global society? As seen in American industrialization, how did water serve as an incredible source of opportunity for individuals? And the last one, as seen in American imperialism, how did water often serve as the means of destruction for many non-Western societies? Okay, I see a little connection there with
The IED question.
yeah. English 12, how do I make an annotated bibliography? Yeah, we're going to need that with all the different resources we're going to pull. How do I present research in a visual format?
Sounds like art.
Yep.
Yeah, and how can I use elements of argument to effectively persuade an audience? That one's good.
Yeah.
All right, so biology. Why is water considered an essential molecule for all life on Earth? Why shouldn't you drink salt water or use it to irrigate your crops? And how does water drive the productivity of a given region and therefore support an ecosystem?
Okay, interesting. Okay, well, I've got chemistry. For chemistry, it says, what special chemical properties of water make it such a unique substance? Kind of sounds like physics, the microscopic things. What contaminants are of concern in drinking water in the U.S.? And what is in, quote, enhanced water beverages? And how does the price increase compare with the cost of the added substances? Okay, sounds like Gatorade.
Yeah.
Okay. For economics, speaking of money and Gatorade, is investing in the stock of a company involved in the production or distribution of water or water products a good risk? Here's another question for economics. Put on your philosophical hat. Water, a human right or a commodity? An economic analysis of how the perception of, quote, free changes consumer behavior and how the privatization of water leads to increased costs for the poor. And then here's another one. Can a savvy entrepreneur develop a profitable business producing products to help people with limited access to water? Okay, those are kind of fun. I like money, so that's great. Okay, wellness. What is the best water-based rehydration product on the market today? Maybe it's Gatorade, maybe it's not. Is there another method to rehydrate the body during and after exercise that can decrease water consumption and still provide optimum results? And finally, what are the risk factors associated with dehydration?
I see a little bit of overlap there from some of our questions, and I'm guessing that probably our next steps are just to go back through them and see where we can make connections between our classes.
Yeah, what kind of stood out since we have our Google Doc up? Are there some that
I'll record.
I think that obviously the art in the English 12 is almost about how we do the research project and how we present it. So I think all of that's going to fit in.
Right.
I noticed we kind of all seem to be interested in this notion of water transportation in physics, and also some of the IED stuff about how to do water transportation. Wasn't there something in American history about that almost?
Well, it was more about source of freedom and control or opportunity, really.
Okay. Ooh. How did water serve as an incredible source of opportunity for individuals? And then biology, wasn't there something, how does water drive the productivity of a given region
Yes.
and therefore support an
That
ecosystem,
might connect to yours about whether it's a right or a.
a commodity or
Commodity,
privilege in a
Kinda like
business?
these.
Hmm.
All right, so we
That's a
went
question
back
most
to-
people don't think about.
Yeah.
Might be interesting.
See, it's almost like we could do something like you could, from those, and I don't know if this, how many, but I think that we could do something like looking at the history of water transportation and the design of those sorts of things, developing water transportation systems and distribution systems for impoverished countries. And I think it would be a good case study in sort of this question of water, a human right or a commodity. And, this other thing, can a savvy entrepreneur develop a profitable business producing products to help people with limited access to water? So, like the guys that came in from the Water for Americas, it's like, they are talking about companies that are not only profitable and sustainable, but are also economic or environmentally beneficial. So it'd be interesting to help people, socially beneficial too, interesting to help people, but at the same time do it through having a company that would make money and make us want to do it over a long period of time. So yeah, I wonder if there is like a product or sets of products we could make that would help transport water in those sorts of places. It can be a design challenge almost. So if we did something like that, obviously we could talk about other ideas too, but if we did something like that, would we have at least a multiplicity of courses involved? Obviously the art and English are sort of a given, but would we have, I've got economics in
yeah.
there.
And we've got biology in there.
Yeah,
Maybe work some American history because you're looking at. We're talking about other societies and how they're impacted, but like, if you're looking at the question of is this a right or a commodity, if we compare in our society how we look at water and
Yes.
accessibility to it as opposed to another country, that might be an interesting point within the presentation.
I kind of like it because we could develop so we've got economics, we've got biology, we've got IED, we've got physics. And I think if I remember, they said we had to have at least 3 courses. And I wouldn't really want to count like English 12 and art as 2 out of the 3 since those are sort of a given. But so I think we'd meet the criteria there. And I kind of like it too because it's like sort of this big question about water access that's sort of philosophical, but it's got this other part to it that's, we're going to build a prototype of some sort of a product. So maybe our next steps if we go down this route, maybe our next step is we'll need to start thinking about doing some research about what people have done before to help water access in impoverished regions, and maybe see where there's a need to design something like a problem almost to identify to go with the design cycle.
Cool.
What do you guys think?
No, that sounds good. I was really thinking about that when you said we need to look at how other regions have done it in history and really, see what has worked and what hasn't worked. And that's going to be really a good baseline for us to kind of model some of our work after. So I think that'll work.
Okay, I think we got some next steps. What do you think,
That
Mrs.
sounds
Brigette?
great. So are we looking at this as a matter of like what we can design that can be used, like if we were talking about another country, that they can design and put into place, or when we're talking about the entrepreneurial side, something that it would be an American-made product?
I think it could. I think it could be both.
It could be
Yeah.
both? Cool. All right, just trying to get my mind wrapped around which way we're looking at that.
Well, I think, yeah, that's great. I think we got next steps at the very least.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Good job, team.
Yay!